Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Today is Thursday, July 16th, and another good turnout here. I only showed two people from the agenda missing, Les Robinson and Joe Budnick. I'll keep an eye out for those two. Everybody else who's a roll holder is here, as well as several people who will probably be participating in table topics. Without further ado, I'll pass things off to our Toastmaster of the day, Mr. Philip Russell. Take it away.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. I hope everybody is ready for a good start to the meeting. I am getting there now. The theme of the meeting is be prepared. Don't be like me. Be prepared. I was a Boy Scout and I learned that a long time ago. I definitely need to be prepared. However, I didn't check what my job was until about 2 days ago, and I'm catching up. But we got everything, and I want to one role change was Maggie Craig had to be driving, so she's begged off. And thank you, Bridget Newton, for stepping up as the general evaluator. I think Maggie is checking in and is going to be with us on riding, but she doesn't have the job of general evaluator. So let's proceed. Now, has Dave Licata checked in or is he still sleeping?
I'm here.
Oh, David is here. David, the actual godfather of the whole AM Lockport Toastmasters. Would you please give us an inspiration to start off our meeting, please?
I'll be happy to, Mr. Toastmaster. And today's inspirations come from the Complete Life's Little Instruction Book. So these instructions should help you be prepared. The first one is give people more than they expect and do it cheerfully. We have another one. Don't go looking for trouble. Don't buy somebody else's trouble. Avoid approaching horses and restaurants from the rear. There are people who will always come up with reasons why you can't do what you want to do. Ignore them. If you need to bring in a business partner, make sure your partner brings in some money. And our final one, and this is very true. My mother warned me about this years ago. Never say anything uncomplimentary about another person's dog. There you go, Mr. Toastmaster. I hope you're all inspired.
Thank you much, David. Very, very good. Those that don't know, the reason Toastmasters AM Lockport Toastmasters is there is because of Dave Licata. I talked to him one day and he said, I did get up early. Now, let's do the pledge. Second in line, the pledge. Stand if you might, or just look at your flag in your room. I have one in the window here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ah, I see our word master checked in, and she's here. Nancy, could you give us a good word for the day?
I am here. Can I be heard?
Gotcha.
Okay, good. Our word for the day is perpetual. Perpetual. Never ending or changing, everlasting. Our perpetual attendance and love for Toastmasters will take us on an amazing journey of growth. Please use the word of the day, perpetual, especially with your table topics, but I'd love to hear it throughout the whole meeting, and I will report back at the end. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Nancy. Perpetual is a good word. Remember to use it today. One of the teachers I had teaching English back in my high school days said, say it 3 times in a sentence and you will own it. All right. Master, I see he's here. Zach Finney. Zach, tell us what you're going to do, please.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. This morning, what I want to try to do today is try to sit and count, how many ums and ahs and, other words likes, things like that, and see what I come up with. I'll be listening. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Zach. Good. Ah master is important. I know I am a master of ahs at times. Let's move on. Darcy Colby, I know she's here. She has my most feared job, the grammarian. Darcy. Get
You're
her.
muted, Darcy.
Sorry about that. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and Mr. Toastmaster and any guests that we might have. My job as grammarian is to report on both poor and exceptional uses of grammar. And for the last couple of weeks, I have not been using the word of the day. I'm trying to make a very conscious effort to use the word of the day. And I just came up with a sentence. Success is for those with perpetual good habits. Mr. Toastmaster.
Right. That's why I try to keep in perpetual motion to keep my body moving. Now we have that, Darcy. Uh-oh. I know I saw her on here. Margot Bittner is going to give us a quote, and she always has some good quotes. Margot, are you ready?
I am, Mr. Toastmaster. Good morning, everyone. Actually, I have two quotes for you this morning. You may not know it if you have not been on Facebook yet, but my husband's birthday is today. And I'm going to give you two quotes that he loves to say. The first one he gives me every year on his birthday, which is, "My goal is to live forever, and so far it's working." The perpetual optimist. But his other quote, when people ask him, "Why do you do so much lobbying and going to Albany?" He says, "If I'm not sitting at the table, I'm going to be on the menu." Some words to provoke some thoughts, Mr. Toastmaster.
I thank you so much. Good. All right, we have our quote. Now it's time to hear a jest. I know she's here. Sylvia, what is your jest for today?
Well, did you know I always carry a spare roll of duct tape, a pocket knife, and a first aid kit? Did you know that? You know, just in case my day suddenly turns into a survival reality show, and it has been lately. And why did the Boy Scout bring a ladder to a job interview? Because he heard he needed to be highly prepared for advancement. That's my two jokes for today.
That's a good one. I don't think I ever heard that one before. That is good. Being an old Boy Scout myself and being prepared. And as I told people, if you weren't here, I was so unprepared. I didn't start looking into the schedule and finding out what my job was until about 2 days ago. So I had to work feverishly to be prepared. Let's go on now to our timer. And our timer is Mr. Mike Florio. Michael.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, good morning. As a good Toastmaster, we need to be prepared and be prepared to stop eventually. The perpetual speech is, no, that's not good. I mean, we definitely have to have guardrails on our speeches. So be prepared to stop when you're doing table topics. You'll get the green at 1, the yellow at 1.5, the red at 2. I think it's a 15-second buffer that we allow, and then be prepared to stop. No perpetual speeches on table topics, and no perpetual speeches in our evaluations. Evaluations are 2 minutes with the green, 2.5 minutes for the yellow, and 3 minutes for the red with a 15-second buffer, and be prepared to stop. Our normal speeches for the day will be anywhere between 5 and 7 minutes, unless told otherwise, and enjoy the day.
Thank you, Mr. Mike. All right, this is, I'm preparing my next speech, and it's about the history of Toastmasters in Lockport. And when you talked about perpetual speeches, that's what ruined the evening Toastmasters. They would meet at 7 o'clock for dinner, and they wouldn't get over with until 11 o'clock at night because some people would give perpetual speeches. They never ended. All right, enough of that nonsense. On to our quizmaster. I'm sure he has some nonsense for us. And our quizmaster is Stephen Smith. Stephen, do you have some nonsense for me?
Of course. My job today is to pay I can't even say it, perpetual attention to the meeting to ferret out any little minutiae and interesting facts to see if you have been paying perpetual attention. I'll report back later with some interesting little goodies. I've already started.
All right, Stephen. And in the same studio, or possibly in different parts of the studio, is Jill Roaring. And Jill, she is going to be Table Topics Master, and she has a lot of people that she can choose from. So, Jill, take it away with Table Topics. Explain the duties and what they have to do to survive, to be able to be voted for in the topics. Jill Roaring.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster Phil. Now, if you look in that window right here, which I'm not pointing at it very well, but Steve is right behind me and through that window. One. All right. Table Topics is impromptu speaking. I'm going to ask a question of you, and hopefully you will be able to speak 1 to 2 minutes on it using the word of the day, perpetual. And I was reminded of this word as Mike was talking. We do not want you to filibuster while you are talking on this. From what I can see, I have 5 people eligible. And I'm going to use the first question that I came up with. And Kate is the only person who fits the eligibility for this question. So, Kate, you are Toastmaster on September 3rd. What will you do to prepare for it?
I think
Katie there.
might be offline right now.
Okay. I guess we will pick somebody else then. Let's see here. Carol Ann, tell us about a situation where there was no way to prepare for the event. What I'm thinking about is something like a car accident. When I was rear-ended in 2001, I had no idea it was going to happen. So what are you going to prepare? What preparation could have helped for this incident that happened?
Madam Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters, I think in my situation, I would probably have to go with my cancer diagnosis. I had in 2017, I had a diagnosis of a chronic type of lymphoma. and they just monitored. But then in 2022, all of a sudden it became an acute type of lymphoma. And I don't think anything, I knew that I just wasn't feeling too good, that something was going on. And so they did a PET scan, and I don't think anything quite prepares you to be looking at a scan that's lit up like a Christmas tree. However, dealing with the wonderful staff at Roswell and the doctor I had, they told me, we know what you have. We have the treatment. And thankfully, the acute stage left, and we're still being monitored. And I know we're kind of hard to prepare for the smoke we're having. It seems that these fires in Canada are just burning perpetually this summer. And hopefully we're all taking precautions to not be breathing in that smoke. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Carol Ann. Unfortunately, you took away one of my next questions because I have, however, you prepared for this air quality situation. But since you answered it, I am going to pick let's see here. Len or Mark, which one of you is available?
Maybe
Len's
Chris Kelly.
available.
I was going to say there's a couple people without roles today. Chris Kelly. I know Samantha's.
Chris is there. I didn't see him.
Yeah, Samantha's driving.
Okay.
And
So Chris is there.
Maggie's driving.
Okay. I did not see Chris on the. I've been watching, but I did not see him up there. Okay. All right. So Chris. 5 minutes ago, you were told that you needed to do a presentation to your Fortune 500 corporate board in an hour. What are you doing besides panicking?
Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Besides panicking, what am I doing? Trying to get out of a perpetual state of what the heck am I going to do thoughts out of my head. And get prepared. And being a fellow Boy Scout and Eagle Scout, you're taught to prepare and learn all the skills you can, so when the time comes that you need to give a presentation or inspire, that you can draw from one of those moments or one of those events. So I guess I would take the history of my past life and some challenges and relationships that you've had to get through, and take those ideas and get some information together to give the talk. Being a Fortune 500 company, I guess there'd be many people involved that are eager to try to improve the company. Being my first time on Zoom here, I'm kind of feeling in that state of panic right now. So I'm trying to overcome and step up into the meeting, as you all are seasoned veterans. But it's a welcoming environment, and with the team that we have here, it feels like if I can do it, you guys are all doing it also, and we can make it all happen together. So that's what I would do. I would come in and bring the teamwork mentality and say, you know, it's not just one person, but it's all of us. So there we go.
Okay. Let's see. Since Kate is not available, how about Samantha?
Samantha was driving. I think,
Samantha was driving.
She's driving.
yeah. I think Les or Marty would be good candidates.
Les is alternate speaker. And
Les is speaking.
He's
Yeah.
speaking.
He is speaking? Okay.
Is Marty is there? Okay, yes, Marty came in late. Okay. Marty. How have you prepared for this current heat wave air quality situation that we are all dealing with?
Thank you, Madam Topics Master. Could you please remind me of the word of the day?
Perpetual.
Perpetual. Thank you, Madam Topics Master, fellow members and guests. How do I prepare for the hot and humid weather we've been having lately? It's been perpetual. The heat has been perpetual. It's been with us for the last month or so. It's been in the 90s. And then yesterday morning, when I woke up, I noticed the nasty weather outside from the Canadian wildfires. What I do to prepare for that is I take water bottles and I freeze them. And then if I'm going outside to work, I take them with me. And not only do I take them with me, but I bring an old towel or a shirt or something. And if I'm working outside, I find a place in the shade, and similar to a cooler. If I have a cooler, I'll put it in the shade and cover it up. And then periodically I'll go into the shade and I'll take that frozen bottle. It's probably melted by now. And I'll enjoy the water and stay hydrated that way and stay cool. And it's something that it's very important to do, to stay hydrated so you don't get heat stroke in the weather, especially, as I said, the weather's been in the 90s. In the last month, I've been working outside doing some landscaping and yard work. And those frozen ice bottles of water have really helped me. So, Madam Topics Master, that's what I do to stay cool in this very warm weather we've been having. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty. That was a good suggestion for all of us. Well, I managed to find 3 people who weren't driving and were available to answer. Can we have a timer's report?
Yes, Jill, you may have a timer's report. Wow. All 3 speakers, I thought would be a little bit brief, but they all used the buffer and still qualified. Carol Ann at 2:07, Chris Kelly at 2:11, Marty at 2:05. So everyone qualified with time.
Thank you. And word master is
Nancy, I'm here.
Nancy.
Yes.
How did the word of the day do?
Word of the day did really well. Carol Ann used it once, Chris used it once, Marty used it 3 times. And I see 5, 10, 11, 12, 13 other uses of it prior to table topics. So let's keep up the momentum and perpetually use the word. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Marty is always one to use the word of the day numerous times. So with that, I think I will go back to Phil.
Thank you, Madam Topics Master. That was good. Good table topics. I enjoyed that very much. Table topics has been one of the most enjoyable parts of Toastmastering because you cannot be prepared for it. And the key is to say it and shut up. That's the most important thing. And as I remember with the evening Toastmasters, they could not survive because they laughed. They spoke perpetually. And until, oh God, could you imagine a meeting going from 7 o'clock at night until 11 o'clock? No wonder they didn't survive. However, Dave Licata did make the noon group didn't make it, but Dave Licata revived the morning group and brought us all back to Toastmasters World, which we're very lucky to do. Now, we have all of our speakers available and all of our evaluators available. Joe Budnick is going to introduce and talk about our first speakers, Dr. Gerald Stevens, a DTM. And Joe, you may introduce him or you can turn it back to me. I'll leave it up to you once you have the floor. Joe Budnick, evaluator number 1, evaluating Dr. Gerald Stevens.
Yes, it is my privilege and honor to evaluate Dr. Gerald Stevens. And Philip, do you have his title by any chance?
No, I don't.
Okay. So, Dr. Stevens, can you tell us your title, please?
Greased pickle. I put it online.
What is it?
Greased pickle.
Oh, that sounds good. I haven't had breakfast yet, so. Okay, take it away, Gerald.
Before the timer starts, it's 5 to 7 minutes. Mr.
Okay, thank you.
It's all in the online. It is what it is. Okay, go ahead and start the time. Fellow Toastmasters, I often am very prepared. I am an Eagle Scout as well and spent many years in Cub Scouts. I think you have to be prepared in West New York, actually, because you never know what's going to happen. And we never know what's going to happen in Toastmasters. And I have a story about that related to Boy Scouts. When I was recently camping with my grandkids in Letchworth, we were sitting around the campfire, and my grandson's running around, and I said, "Hey, Elliot, you ever heard the story of the greased pickle?" And he said, No, I have not. I said, "Well, sit down." So he was drawn into a quiet moment, which he never has. So back in the day, in Camp Scout Haven, I would go to summer camp, and we would have a camp-wide Olympics, and we would compete against the other troops in all different categories. And it came down to the very end, and it was a relay. It was a water relay. And what we did is there's different stages. So you have a canoe portion, you have a rowboat portion, you have a blue swimmer portion, which are good swimmers. And we had a red swimmer, which is an intermediate swimmer. And then we had a white swimmer. And that was me. I do not know how to swim. I was the tallest white swimmer and the skinniest white swimmer that was there. But in the end, with all these little kids. So the gun went off and the baton was passed. The canoers are going, they're going. And we're neck and neck at this point with Troop 844, who also we're neck and neck with for points to win the camp championship. So I passed it on to the rowboat people. Rowboat people, they're rowing. And then 844 fumbles the baton. But we did not, Troop 837. And we passed it on to the blue swimmer, and to the red, and to me, and across the finish line for victory. Or was it? As it turned out, they tallied the points. We didn't win the whole thing. It was a tie. Oh, So what happens when there's a tie? Well, they do the grease pickle contest. And I had no idea what this was. And it's the white swimmers that do the grease pickle contest. That's me. So the grease pickle is a watermelon that they put Crisco all over. And they'll throw it in the water, and you have to wrestle it out and get it across the finish line for the victory. That's what was going to determine whether 8441 won or 837 won. And all these other campers, all the other white swimmers are competing with you. So they threw it in the water. I jumped in, I grabbed it. I'm wrestling. I got one kid on this shoulder, another kid on the other shoulder, one pulling my neck backwards, and throwing him off like Marshawn Lynch, trying to get across the finish line. And then at the last minute, this little redheaded snot-nosed kid named Billy right between my legs, and I tripped. And there, in slow motion, goes the grease pickle. And then a smash against the ground. Billion pieces. So I'm like, oh, I was almost there. So I grabbed the biggest piece, went across the finish line, and handed it to the camp counselor. They didn't know what to do because this has not ever happened before. So they had a conference and they decided that 837 won because I had the biggest piece. And then all my compadres picked me up on their shoulders and carried me around. Gerald. It was a great moment. So I'm telling my grandson Elliot this, and he's just like, that happened? Oh my God, that's crazy. I can't believe it. So we had the bragging rights as camp champions until next year. And we'd see him other times during the year as well to see if we would, we compete against this, the Klondike, all different things, but we would always rub this in because we had that moment. Because of that big piece of watermelon, the grease pickle. Always have to remember these stories in life. And as a Toastmaster, I am a perpetual teller of tales. So my grandkids are continually entertained in addition to my students, who are also additionally entertained repeatedly. In fact, it was in my evaluation. And my student said, I expect you to keep entertaining me. And that's my goal for you, fellow Toastmasters, to continually entertain. Mr. Toastmaster.
Very good. Oh, I was at Boy Scouts. I made it to Star, I believe. But as what usually happens with Boy Scouts, you either continue on or you get involved in sports. Unfortunately, I did not continue on with Boy Scouts, but fortunately, I went on with sports and I had a great time doing it and it was very enjoyable. But that's what usually happens. And I stopped and went into sports. Now, we have a second speaker. But before we do that, I wasn't prepared. See, if I would have become an Eagle Scout, I would have been prepared totally all the time. Let's bring on, because we do have some time, Bridget, who volunteered to be the general evaluator. Bridget, could you tell us what your job is as the general evaluator?
Good morning, everybody, fellow Toastmasters. I do not believe we have any guests today. So as the general evaluator, our meeting, I'm going to back up. Our meeting is today, not perpetual. Because today's meeting is not perpetual, at the end of the meeting, I will be evaluating each of the speaker evaluations, the overall meeting, and should it be called upon me, I will be calling for the reports. So I've already listened to one speech. I look forward to the other two and then how they are evaluated. That's it for me.
that was, I don't know if that's the first time you're being a general evaluator, but that was one of the best explanations of the general evaluator I have ever heard.
Thank
Very,
you,
very
sir.
good.
Thank you.
Now, I know he's here, but he's not here. He's out in his camp. He's hiding in the woods. He's perpetually summer bound and in the woods. Mr. Larry McKenzie is going to introduce our second speaker, Jim Sacco. Be you there, Larry?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. This morning, I have the pleasure of evaluating Mr. Jim Sacco. But before I do that, it was a perpetual memory that came to me, and it seems like they come quite often. Back in the 1960s and 1970s, I also was very involved in Boy Scouts, and I was a member of Troop 844 at 25th Street School in Niagara Falls, New York. I don't know if there's any simulation. It could have been us that lost that. Who knows? But anyway, today my role is an evaluator of Jim Sacco. He is going to be working out of the Presentation Mastery Level 1, Evaluation and Feedback. And this is his second speech, which will be 5 to 7 minutes, Mr. Timer. What he will be doing today is he will be revising speech number 1, or perhaps presenting an entirely new speech in regard to also skills that are needed to give and receive feedback, whether he took the feedback from speech 1 and applied it to speech 2, and then serve as an evaluator post his second speech at a Toastmasters meeting. Jim Sacco, the fourth quarter of Jim Sacco.
Thank you, fellow Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As of last June, June 30th, I would have been retired for 4 years. And it's really been quite an adventure for my retirement in these past 4 years so far. One of the things I've been doing is I've been reading a lot of different books. I read the book Will by G. Gordon Liddy. I gave that to my neighbor the other day, so he gave me this book to read, the book Willin', about the band Little Feat. I saw Little Feat last April at the Miramar, Florida, at the Soundwave by Joe Bonamassa, and I'm going to see them again in Memphis this November. I'm really looking forward to that. Other books I've been reading about our past president, Grover Cleveland, also about Ulysses S. Grant and the battles in the Civil War. And I completed that book, and now I'm in the midst of reading this book about Robert E. Lee. It's about 570 pages long. I still got 100 pages to go in this book. But it's fantastic just to get a different perspective of how the war was fought and what have you. Every day for the past 2 months, I've been reading from the Roman Catholic Bible. I read from the New Testament, 15 minutes a day, the chapters of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And right now, I'm in the midst of reading about the Acts of the Apostles. One of the things that I was referred to was a book that I saw online that the Catholic Church had published called The Fourth Quarter of Your Life. And this is a great book. It talks about embracing what matters in your life and by being honest with yourself. And I've got a new perspective, a good perspective of life on this from this book. It's about 40 chapters long. I've earmarked the number of the chapters. And I was reading this, I started reading this about a year ago. And it was only about 15 minutes per day. I would read it in the morning, and it would leave space where you could just write down your ideas about what was contained in that chapter. So what do they talk about in this book? Well, the first thing they do is they say, well, there are two unavoidable truths in life. And one of them is that denying yourself limitations as you get older. Well, do I deny? I'm guilty of that, I believe, because I just did the Ride for Roswell, 65 miles. I'm 66 years old. And I've been signing up for these 5K races. I've been doing this now for the past 15 years. So somebody could say that I'm denying myself limitations, but it's kind of fun. The second biggest fumble in life is that you pretend that your self-made faults are actually natural limitations. And they are not necessarily natural limitations. It's something that that we could work through. There are 40 chapters in the book, like I told you. 15 minutes per day. It takes you about 2 months to get through this book. And also, when it starts off, we're talking about the unavoidable truth in life. And that, yeah, there is an end to life. We realize that. And there are four quarters in life. The first quarter between the ages of 0 and 20. Second quarter is when you turn 40. Third quarter is when you turn 60. And the fourth quarter of life is between 60 and 80. And if we live past 80, God bless us, then we're in overtime. And it's a fantastic thing. Now, it talks about, another chapter talks about how long do you think that you have to live? Well, you always look back at your life is not perpetual, but you look back at how long did your parents live? And my mother, she's 87 years old. She's still with us and still driving me crazy. But my father, he passed at 82 years old, and we talk about him all the time when we get together. It's really a great, you have great memories with him. Then there's another chapter, and what do you do with your time now? Well, think about it. What do you do? What did you do when you were younger? And what do you do? Do you do the same things now? Well, I know that one of the things it does emphasize is learn to say no about things that you have done in the past. Well, for the past 25 years, I've been a member of the Democratic Committee here in Pendleton, New York, and I've carried petitions for candidates every year for the past 25 years. This year, I told them, no, I'm done this year. And it's been really good. People have been accepting of that. Also, there's a chapter in here about what are your past mistakes? And ask a few questions about that. Do you think about what your past mistakes are in life? One of them that I found was on August 8th, 1978. I was just out of high school, and that time I had been running. I've been preparing to go on the Skyline Marathon with a group of people, and I was hit by a drunk driver, and I was almost killed in an accident at that time. At the time, and I thought about it. I said, "Yeah, that was a mistake, but how did my life grow from there?" And it's been really interesting just trying to make your mistakes more of a positive impact on you. There's also a chapter in this book about what is God saying to you every day for 20 days. You write something down. What did God say to you that day? I started this on March 30th, 2025. And that was the year my granddaughter Natalie was born. So that was God talking to me that day. But you go on with that. At the same time, you finish the different chapters reading in this book. In conclusion, you got to look at your life as a perpetual experience. And you have to embrace, it talks about embracing what matters most in your life. Ask 20 questions. Do you value people more or things? Age or attitude? Getting things or giving away things? Write things down as you go through this book. And I encourage everybody to get this book. And what I'll do is I'll send a link online so that you could look it up online. It's only about $16. I look at what do I do? The travel that I've been doing, also the concerts I've been seeing. I went to see Blackberry Smoke last night at Art Park. It was fantastic. Went to see Santana. I saw Santana in Toronto just about a couple of weeks ago, and it's just great to live your life to its fullest and to perpetually work through this. Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you.
I did unmute myself. One of the things I got into Toastmasters for was to overcome my fear of public speaking. Main reason I stayed, it's fun. Meetings are fun. And I always learn something. Perpetually learning in Toastmasters. Let's move on to our third evaluator, And he's going to, she, I can't remember who it is here. Oh, it's Michael Licata. Michael is going to be evaluating our step-up man who stepped up as the alternate speaker. Michael, would you introduce Lester J. Robinson III? Michael Licata.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Les is speaking out of the Humorously Speaking Pathways. It is the power of humor in an impromptu speech. So, Mr. Timer, these are two speeches, 2 to 3 minutes each. So, we're going to ask for the lights green at 2, yellow at 2.5, and red at 3 for both speeches. The purpose of this project is for the member to develop their method for giving impromptu speeches and practice adapting rehearsed stories during a presentation. His speech title this morning is The Power of Humor. The Toastmaster picks two of my topics. Les Robinson, The Power of Humor.
You're muted, Les. Can't hear you yet. Les, if you can hear us, we don't hear you and we don't see you.
Oh, well.
Sorry, Mr. Toastmaster, I can fill some time. In my role as club treasurer, I want to thank Len for sending out the email as prompt. Yes, the email promptly yesterday. Him and I have been in constant communication since the email, and I did send out the dues emails. So just to go over everything really quickly, International is raising the price for 6 months, but we have until August 3rd. So instead of paying $12 per month for the new fees, we get the opportunity to pay $11 per month. So it's $66 for 6 months, plus the additional $6 club fee that you guys could mail me a check. And we're working on the PayPal part of it. But if you want to mail me a check or figure out a time to pick something up, we'll go from there. But I just want to get that out there, and Les is back, so we'll let him speak now.
Okay, Les, you want to test your microphone? Still not hearing. Do you have your mic disabled by some chance?
Les, maybe you should just go out and go on your phone and do it that way. Or make sure your permissions are on your
Or Les,
microphone on your laptop.
Les, if you want to exit from the meeting and then reconnect, we'll bring you back in. Maybe that'll straighten it out. Give him just a minute here. And we'll be discussing a little bit more the Toastmasters International dues increase at the end of the meeting under announcements.
Perhaps, Michael, could you give us your address so we can
Well, in an
mail
effort
you
to
that
fill
check?
some time, I can announce who the Toastmaster and the speakers are next week. Toastmaster next week will be Michael Licata. Speakers are Darcy, Sam, and myself. I don't know why I would do that to myself since I made the schedule, but those are your three speakers.
A rookie mistake, Mark.
Apparently.
Hey, Mike, could you give us your address so we could mail you a check?
When we determine the policy in our club's due structure, that'll include his address for mailing checks. And by mailing a check, you avoid the PayPal fees as well.
Sure, you can mail me a check. Just
That'll
make sure
be
it's up
included
data.
in the email to all members.
Let's make it out to Mike Florio, though.
Oh, nice try, Mike. Okay, we're still waiting for Les to reconnect here. Not seeing him.
Bill, do you have any more filler on your topic?
Well, I was going to mention, it's a little confusing on that business end of it. So we could pay $66, but my question to Michael is, are you going to mail out to each one of us either an email or as to how much we owe? I can't remember whether I paid annually or 6 months.
That'll be forthcoming, just like every 6 months. You'll
All
get
right,
an
perfect.
email. Yes.
All right.
And it'll explain the options.
So who on here was a Cub Scout or Boy Scout? I was a Cub Scout, and then I made it to Weebelo, and then that was kind of it for me. But
Cub Scouts were in our neighborhood the biggest thing going.
yeah,
My mother was a den mother,
yeah,
but she would not let me in her den, and I had to go up to my cousins where they had it because she did not want to have me annoying her.
I still remember
all of
Mrs.
us, we
Dudek.
had a great time in Cub Scouts.
Yeah, we did too.
Guys, can you hear me? One of our best times was Cub
Yeah,
Scouts.
we can hear Les.
We
My
can
shirt
Les
doesn't
back
fit me
and
anymore.
he's got audio.
There we go.
Let's go to Les.
All right, gotta love it. My speech is about a technical difficulty. Gotta love it. All right, so I'm going to do talking about an open house. We're waiting for a speaker due to technical difficulty. All right, we'd like to be welcoming people to this event. We have a little technical difficulty with one of our speakers. Seems that they need to reset their computer, and that will take a few minutes. So I will talk for the next 2 minutes about how great Toastmasters is. I've been in Toastmasters for over 20 years. I was brought in by Dave Licata. And one thing Toastmasters helped me do was better present myself, prepare for unknown events that I could handle, and also how to be a better speaker and how to eliminate the word if you watch speeches around TV or politicians or professional people and they use the word you will sit there and notice how unprofessional they are. And that is one of the greatest events and speeches and things you can learn in Toastmasters is avoid using the word It will also help you perpetuate your career to be a better speaker, because when you are a better communicator, you are a more effective person in making money, people dealing with you, people respecting you. Also, there's going to come times and places where you'll have to speak off the cuff, and Toastmasters with table topics will help you do that. And that is what is very impressive, that people will be impressive about you, because you will be able to speak off the cuff and go forward versus sitting there going,
total dead air, and you do not want dead air. Toastmaster says, okay, how are we going to do this? How are we going to effectively be able to give this speech? And how are we effectively going to be able to look professional and basically have no time or effort to get prepared? That is the advantages of Toastmasters. That's what it teaches you. I see that our speaker is ready to come in, and I will hand that back to them. All right. My second speech is, you've been invited to speak at an event, and it's a few minutes until the speaker arrives. So I'm going to do the next one. I'd like to welcome everybody here. We're here at our Eagle Scout event today, and we are waiting for our speaker to come here, who is also a distinguished Toastmaster. Is Gerald Stevens, who's also an Eagle Scout. He is late because his Corvette had a little problem getting here, so we're going to talk, and he told me, just texted me, he'll be here in about 2 minutes. Now, everyone remembers the conclaves that we used to have around the area. Back in the day, one of the local clubs, we would send the new scouts out to look for sky hooks, dehydrated water, and smoke shifters. None of those three events or items really are there. They're not there. We sent out our young scouts in a controlled area so they wouldn't be lost. And about 20 minutes later, our five little scouts walk in with a smoke shifter. And they said, the guys over there at the other site said you knew how to work it because they had a whole trailer of them. So we looked at it and we played with it for a minute or two. And we said, this is a left-handed one. They gave you a right-handed one, and it doesn't have the vent adjuster on it. They didn't put the vent adjuster. And the younger scouts are just like, what do you mean? He goes, we'll take it back and get it. So I talked to my friend Dave, and I said, grab some cookies and let's go back to the other site. So we go into the other site. We deliver the smoke shifter. We asked them what they did. They said they made them up in shop class. They had them on a back trailer. We brought some cookies, and then the other smoke shifters were coming back to the campsite. And we had basically what it was, a miniature Cracker Barrel with the older scouts, but the senior scouts went to their own event, and we basically brought cookies and had hot chocolate. Had a very fun, exciting time. Went back to our troop and explained to the new scouts that the smoke shifter was broken, and on the next event you can go back and get the correct smoke shifter. That will work. That was just one of the things we used to do with the new scouts. It made it fun. It made it exciting. And I see that Gerald is ready to come in and give his speech. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.
I have a quick question. Zach, are you ready now? We have a little bit after this little bit of technical and that. Zach has to leave, but he's ready to give his master report now as what he's received. And then we might have somebody step up if they want to as the master to continue the meeting. Zach, you're on.
Beautiful. Thank you. And perfect timing following Les's speech about the word I know for me personally, I've been listening to myself use the word like a lot, just in day-to-day conversations. I'm saying like all the time, and I'm trying to cut that out. But as for today, table topics number 1, Carol Ann, I did hear about 5 ums. That seems to be your maybe unconscious word. Table topics number 2, Chris Kelly was more of the and but I heard about 4 or 5 of those. Table topics number 3, Marty Johnson, just a few. I think it was 2 or 3 ums or And let's see, Gerald Stevens, 1. And I caught that one. And aside from that, really solid job. I didn't hear any other words, fillers, nothing like that. Jim Sacco, I did hear a handful of mixed in there and a handful of ums mixed in there as well. And finally, Les, I think there was 1 in the second speech. And I think you might have just subconsciously planted that in your mind from the first one about ums. So thank you, everybody. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you much, Zach. Now, if anybody is out there and willing to take up the master for the balance of the meeting, we'll have a mystery master. We won't know who it is, but somebody please check the odds. All right, now let me move on with this meeting. We're doing okay, still on time, it looks like. But it's time for our evaluators. And
Speaking of time,
what?
Speaking of time, let me just let you know how our speakers did on time.
Oh, good. I'm not prepared very well, am I? Go ahead. Thank you, Mr. Timer.
Everyone qualified. Gerald at 5:22. Jim came in with the buffer at 7:10, and Les on both speeches 2:05 and 2:16. So all qualified.
Perfect. All right. See? You can have fun at this and don't worry about making mistakes in Toastmasters because
I
I'll
got
tell
your
you
back.
what,
I've got your back.
it happens. There we go. Vote for your best speaker. Now, let's get on to the evaluators. Our first evaluator, Joe Budnick. Come on, evaluate. You're up.
Thank you. Well, it was an honor to listen to Mr. Dr. Stevens' speech today. Your enthusiasm was fantastic. It was contagious, and we could tell you were all excited about giving this speech, and it made us excited too. I was in Scouts too. I was in Cub Scouts, so this definitely brought back memories. And Gerald, you are a great storyteller. And as I've learned, childhood memories are a treasure trove for giving a speech. You were very animated, gestures were really good as well. And we were drawn into your story along with your grandson. We were drawn in, and you brought your story to life. We were down in that water with you. We were there with you when you were swimming and tossing that greased pickle back and forth. Yes, we were definitely there. You brought the characters to life, you brought the stories to life, and it was like revisiting the past. So, like I said, childhood memories are a great topic for speech. That's something I've often learned too. So if I had to say any room for improvement, now me with a room for improvement with a seasoned Toastmaster like you, I don't know, maybe grab a watermelon with you and use that as a visual aid during your speech maybe would have advanced the speech a little bit, but still, you were enthusiastic giving your speech, and like I said, you brought the story to life. We were there with you, and it truly was memorable. And like I said, I was in Cub Scouts too, and I had a great time. I don't think I ever was in water or passing a greased watermelon back and forth. That was interesting, but still, I had a good time too. And I think we really all enjoyed your speech, and you really brought history to life. And it was very animated, very detailed story that you told us. And I say wonderful, good job. Thank you. Thank you, Gerald, for a great speech.
Very good. Now, are from the wild woods of who knows where, out towards the eastern plains of Western New York, Larry McKenzie, you will be the evaluator of Jim Sacco. Have at it, Larry.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. This morning, Jim did a phenomenal job with his speech. Now, this was supposed to be his second speech. I remember his first speech in regards to the fourth quarter. And it's something, the topic in regards to, I think I'm realizing it myself as I get a little bit more mature, I guess is the best way of saying it, that we're in the fourth quarter and reflect on different things. But with that sports metaphor, I would like to think like the FIFA, the soccer tournament that's been going on. I'm hoping for a little extra time at the end of the game. But with that, I want to give you kudos for quite a few things. One of the things is when you are presenting a speech on Zoom, you actually excelled at having the way that you were set up. You were centered on your camera. Your background was not too busy. You presented your speech with great eye contact with the camera. The only time you deflected from that was when you would look down at your notes. One of the things you also did was you used, that was not a reminder, you also used props, the Willen book, the Robert E. Lee reference, the fourth quarter, and how you actually use little footnotes within there, which was a great way of explaining to us how you did your research for your speech. And you emphasized a lot of your points when you were giving those ideas with hand gestures. And I noticed that, which was quite presented quite well. One of the things that you did do is that about a minute or a minute and a half into your speech, your facial expression changed with a smile. And at that point, your voice changed and there was more energy in your voice when you presented throughout there. So one of the things that I would say that I would like for you to work on is to perhaps use that smile as something that would help change your voice inflections throughout your speech and your notes that were down in front of you. Bullet points. One of the things that I heard a few minutes ago was something in regards to dead air. When you are in radio and different things, one of the things you never want to hear is dead air. Well, when you're presenting a speech, one of the things that helps you is a slight pause, which might be considered dead air, but that pause helps you to reset, and it may eliminate some of the filler words like the ums, ands, and ahs. What I would like to also give you kudos on is you had a call to action at the end of your speech. Very well presented. Jim, I think as a Toastmaster, you're starting to blossom, not just from giving a father's speech as you had presented. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry. Now, our third evaluator is our resident umpire. Mr. Mike Licata, would you please evaluate Mr. Les Robinson III?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good morning again, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Les. Les, this speech is part of your pathways. Is one of it's kind of a mixed bag, isn't it? You're either supposed to give something. It's not completely off the cuff like table topics, yet it's supposed to be more tailored towards doing a kind of a half prepared speech. And I do want to give you credit and thank you again for sending out the email earlier this week, giving us choices to pick from your two speech topic. You sent that email and Phil and I responded to it. So you were very prepared for these speeches. The power of humor. I think and this is for a lot of people that aren't like improv actors, I think when it comes to developing an impromptu speech with trying to add humor to it, I think it's difficult. I think humor is one of the hardest things to inject into a speech on any given day because you have to be witty, funny, quick. You have to be a lot of things to be successful to successfully inject humor into the speech. But you did an impressive job. You did a quality job with it. Some of the things I would change is just make sure that you find your camera a little bit more, make eye contact with the camera, and making sure that the audience, you look a little bit aloof. It looks like you're not fully paying attention if you don't at least know where your camera is on your laptop or computer or tablet or whichever device you're using. And I also do give you credit this morning too, because your ability to pivot between both speeches was solid. It was the ability and the preparation as part of it was a really good job this morning. I do want to give you a lot of credit going forward. This is one of those elective speeches in pathways that I think a lot of us could benefit from, yet we choose not to do it because of the unusual nature of the speech. But you did do a good job. I do want to give you a lot of credit for giving the speech, and I want to wish you good luck going forward in the humorously speaking pathways. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I cannot be remiss. I must ask for a timer's report. Mr. Timer, please, Michael.
Look at that. You're prepared. I like it. All of our speakers qualified. Joe at 204. Larry, my phone is really good. Okay, it gets down to the 100th of a second here. Larry just touched the wall like an Olympic swimmer here at 3 minutes 14.32 seconds.
Wow.
So Larry made it, and Mike came in at 2:32. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you much, Mr. Timer. Now, we are going to return control to that wonderful general evaluator job. Bridget Newton, she did go and she did volunteer. She has one thing that she has to find out, though, as the general evaluator, if there is a mystery master out there. Bridget, the rating is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster. So as the general event, and I'm going to make a note about the mystery so that I do not forget. All right, as a general evaluator, I first would like to say that throughout the meeting, I am now able to identify who to go to should I ever need help from the former Boy Scouts and in particular the Eagle Scouts. So that's good to know. I would also like to say that for the evaluators, all three of them, their backgrounds were good. I think Joe, you might need to turn on a light because your background's okay, but you are rather dark and it's hard to see your face and so forth. And you are animated when you speak. So I think that would be something to consider. With regards to Joe's evaluation, I appreciate the fact that you said Gerald's name a few times because on Zoom we can't really look at the person, and that way it lets them know that you are directing the comments towards them. So I thought that was a good point. And actually Larry did that as well, and so did Mike. All three of them as well did the sandwich approach, positive, challenge, and then positive. Joe, I also thought that it was good that you pointed out some of the specifics in the speech and also the parts that touched your past experiences and personalized. And you also recognized Gerald's level and how it is difficult to evaluate someone at that level. With regards to Larry, you also said his name, the personal reflection. I did find that you're very, very detailed. You really hone in on the speech, the person. You use the history of how this person has spoke before and able to compare that. And I do remember that Jim had given this speech before. So how did he improve? How did he change? How did he grow? And you were very detailed in the way that you set up some challenges for him. I thought that was very good information. And then, Mike, you did note the difficulty of the speech, that the requirements of, and that people don't necessarily choose this speech. And I thought that was a good way to use Les as a role model in sorts, that this is something that others could um, try to challenge themselves with. So I thought, Mike, you were good with that. as I said, all three were using the sandwich approach. So that's my evaluation of the evaluators. So, Mr. Toastmaster, do you want me to continue on?
Go right ahead. You're doing a great job.
Okay, I shall. So, I think first of all, I will go to the master, if there is a mystery master. Do we have that individual? Did anybody make some
This is
talent?
Nancy.
Oh, wonderful, Nancy. Thank you.
Yes. The word, oh, I took the ahs, ums, ands, and so. I heard a so, 6 ands, 3 ums, and 4 ahs. That's after um after add one more. Those are the ones that I heard. The May I do the word of the day as well?
I was just about to ask if you would continue with that. Yes, thank you.
I will. Besides our table topics, which was used 5 times during table topics, I heard perpetual 5, 10, 15, 19 times. That's pretty good for a word of the day. Please continue to use it. It did slow down a little bit after the first half of the meeting, and that seems to be typical. Use it throughout the day, perpetual. Thank you, Madam
Thank
General
you.
Evaluator.
Thank you, Nancy. I would like to call on the grammarian, please.
All right. Thank you, Bridget. I'm here.
Thank you. Okay.
And I unmuted. So I've got 3 things I'd like to say. First of all, my computer is not working, and that's why I have this weird angle going on here because I'm on my iPad and it's not ideal. Last week I tried to get on with my computer. I couldn't get the microphone to work. And now today my computer's not working at all. So now I've got to buy a new computer. So that's the first thing. Second, I'll give my grammarian report. You know, there's just not a lot of grammatical mistakes that I found today. You're all intelligent people. You speak in complete sentences. You have all the pieces and the parts that a sentence has to have, and they make sense. So what I'm going to report on is just some phrases that I noticed that stuck with me and that inspired me because I couldn't find any grammatical mistakes. Be prepared to stop, says Mike Florio. Good advice. When Carol Ann gave her table topics, her PET scan lit up like a Christmas tree. Not a good thing, but it was so nice to hear her say that the doctor said, we know what you have and we have a cure. I lost my sister to cancer 7 years ago. I lost my dad to cancer 2 years ago. I wish I could have heard those words. The fires in Canada are burning perpetually, she also said. Chris Kelly said, the history of my past life and bring the teamwork mentality. Awesome. It was funny when Mike Florio said, you may have a timer's report. That was funny. Let's see what else. Philip, say it and shut up. Good advice. He brought us back to the Toastmasters world. Joe Budnick, you are so polite. You said it is my privilege and my honor to evaluate Gerald Stevens. And you also said that at the end when you gave your report. Very nice. Gerald Stevens. I wrote this one down. It was like, oh no, I can't. It was a good one. Throwing the kids off your shoulder like Marshall Lynch and snot-nosed kid. I like that one. I've used that one before. Try not to do that, but sometimes it slips out. And a perpetual teller of tales. Very nice. Phil said a Summer bound. I like that thought. I love summer. In fact, I think I'm going to buy a summer home in Florida and just go there. Oh, what else have we got here? Oh, when when Jim Sacco was giving his speech, embrace what matters in your life. What good advice is that? And there's two unavoidable truths in life. Number one, deny myself limitations, and number two, pretend that my self-made faults are limitations. So those are the two main fumbles in life. My mother's still with us and driving me crazy. I got a kick out of that. Learn to say no. Oh, and also, what did God say to me today? I like that. I'd like to keep that in the back of my head. What did God say to me today? Let's see. Then we got down to you do not want dead air. And what else? Giving you kudos by Larry McKenzie. Give you kudos. And he also said, Jim, you are starting to blossom. Very nice compliment. Mike Florio said, Larry McKenzie, to touch the wall like an Olympic swimmer. What a great simile. Hey, there's some grammatical stuff. And that's my grammarian's report because we don't want to go on perpetually. The third thing I'd like to say is next week I'm scheduled to speak. I will not be here. I knew I was going to be away 2 weeks from today out of town, but I'm also, now we've changed our little vacation to a little bit longer, and I'm not going to be at Toastmasters for the next 2 weeks. Mr. Toastmaster or Miss General Evaluator. I'm not sure who's taking charge.
Thank you, Darcy. I'll just step up. So I think we would like to do the Quizmaster. We have to announce the winners, and we have about 7-8 minutes left. So the Quizmaster, please.
Okay. Have we been paying attention this morning?
No.
Well, let's find out. Oh, I heard from some. When did Phil start preparing to be the Toastmaster for today?
2 days
2 days
ago.
ago.
2 days ago, yes. What kind of scout was Chris Kelly?
Eagle.
Eagle.
Eagle
Eagle
Scout.
Scout. Second part of that, who else was an Eagle Scout?
Much of them.
Les.
Dr. Jerry.
Robinson,
Dr. Jerry. I
Bill
heard,
Russell.
I heard Dr. Jerry. He was the name I had. But apparently, a lot of people were scouts. I was never in scouts myself, but why do I need to? I grew up with a whole woods behind me. I don't need them. And believe me, well, I'm not going to tell stories about that. Okay. Why couldn't Samantha do table topics this morning?
She was driving.
Driving. What T-shirt did Jim Sacco have on during his speech?
Antenna.
Antenna, yes. Why does Phil stay in Toastmasters?
Because it's fun.
Because it is fun. I have an extra credit question here. I was sitting here watching my computer screen. I happened to look up and I was watching a hummingbird outside our picture window here, enjoying all of Jill's wonderful flowers out there. And I got to wondering, why does a hummingbird hum?
He forgot the words.
Very good. He doesn't know the words. Thank you, Dave. And that's my report for today. Thank you. Back to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Steve. Very good questions for the quiz today. So I would like to announce the winners today. Drum roll, please. Table topics, Chris Kelly. Speaker, Dr. Gerald Stevens. And the best evaluator, Mr. Larry McKenzie. I believe the duties of my position, the perpetual nature of this is coming to an end, so I will turn it back over to Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You've done a good job. You've done good. My favorite saying, you've done good. Now, I want to turn it back over to one of our officers, return control to one of our officers, and they might be able to, or possibly update us again on the dues increases or things like that, but we do have approximately 4 minutes to continue. So
Thanks,
let the
Phil.
officer of the day take over and control the meeting.
Thanks, Phil.
Sure,
If we start discussing this as a club right now, we'll go on for the next 3 hours, and
Right.
that's simply not possible. I asked in my email yesterday, sent to all members, anybody wanted to weigh in with their 2 cents or their thoughts on the sudden Toastmasters International dues increase, to send me their thoughts by email. And I haven't gotten any responses yet, but feel free to send them to me today. We're trying to organize quickly an ad hoc officers meeting to discuss this and how to respond and how it impacts our billing. As we know, they gave us a very short deadline to get the next 6 months at the old rate and save a few dollars, $7, $8 per member. But we're going to discuss this. The officers will discuss this and come up with a plan and then present it to the members in a more cohesive fashion at a later date. But with that, I thank everybody who read those emails yesterday and cares to respond. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Mark to announce our pertinent members and roles for next week's meeting.
Thank you, Len. Fellow
Yes.
Toastmasters, as I mentioned earlier, the Toastmaster for next week is Mike Licata. The speakers are Sam, myself. Darcy has just had to cancel. Margot is listed as alternate speaker. Margot, I probably did that because I just had a hole to fill. I know you just spoke 2 weeks ago. I
Yep.
don't know if that's an issue for you, or
Well, if
if someone else
somebody
would
else
like
could
to.
step up, I would really appreciate it right now. There's a number of things, especially next week, because our Lions board meeting was switched to next week. So if somebody could step up, I would really appreciate it. If not, I'll do what I have to do.
All right, so food for thought, fellow Toastmasters. If someone would like to seize this speaking opportunity that is available next week, do we have any other announcements pertinent to the entire club before we adjourn the meeting? All right, with that, the meeting is adjourned. Have a good week, everyone.
Stop the recording.